The Soviet Union was undoubtedly remarkable. Regardless of opinions, it's undeniable that they propelled numerous industries with groundbreaking innovations and technology. Often considered geniuses in their own right, the Soviets crafted innovations that seemed straight out of a science fiction novel. Explore the unbelievable world of the craziest Soviet machines. Object 279. Object 279, an experimental heavy tank from the Soviet Union during the Cold War, showcased advanced features and superior protection. With its distinctive design featuring 4 heavily armoured Caterpillar tracks, it aimed to enhance mobility over challenging terrains. Armed with a potent 130mm smoothbore gun, it boasted secondary armaments, including a 145mm heavy machine gun and a 7.62mm machine gun. Noteworthy for its exceptional protection, the tank's heavily sloped hull and rear turret provided increased defense against enemy fire. Despite its innovative design, only 4 prototypes were built, and Object 279 never entered mass production or active service. Various factors, including high production costs, the introduction of more advanced tanks, and the impracticality of its complex design, led to its cancellation. 2B1 Oka. The 2B1 Oka, also known as the atomic cannon, was a colossal self-propelled gun developed by the Soviet Union in the late 1950s during the Cold War. Weighing approximately 54 tons and measuring over 65 feet long, this massive weapon was designed to provide long-range firepower, delivering both conventional and nuclear payloads. With a primary armament of a massive 420mm smoothbore cannon, the Oka had a range of about 12.5 miles with conventional ammunition, extending to approximately 18 miles with nuclear projectiles. Despite its formidable power, only 1 prototype was built, and the 2B1 Oka remained an experimental weapon. The reasons for its limited deployment are unclear, but logistical challenges, evolving warfare dynamics, and the development of more effective weapon systems likely played a role. Interestingly, there seems to be a pattern with these extraordinary Soviet weapons: innovative but often not mass-produced, possibly due to high costs or a lack of practical necessity. The Cold War era emphasized the display of capabilities rather than the actual deployment of such extreme weapons. Su-76M. The Su-76M, a Soviet self-propelled artillery vehicle, played a significant role during World War II, particularly on the Eastern Front. Developed in the early 1940s, it was constructed on a modified T-70 light tank chassis, providing it with good mobility and maneuverability. Equipped with a 76.2mm ZIS-3 gun capable of firing high-explosive and armor-piercing rounds, the Su-76M served as a versatile weapon, primarily offering artillery support. Despite its effectiveness in engaging enemy tanks, especially in the early stages of the war, the vehicle had some limitations. Known for its simplicity and easy maintenance, the Su-76M had an open-top design, leaving its crew vulnerable to enemy fire. In response, improvised protective measures such as sandbag armor were developed. However, the vehicle's thin armor and high silhouette made it susceptible to enemy attacks, highlighting some design flaws. Despite these limitations, the Su-76M played a crucial role in various combat situations during the war. Yakovlev Yak-9. The Yakovlev Yak-9 was a Soviet fighter plane during World War II. It was designed by Alexander Yakovlev and had a strong engine that made it fast and agile. The plane could carry guns and bombs, making it good for fighting and ground attacks. It played a big role in battles against German planes and bombers, and its tough design allowed it to handle damage well. Over 16,000 Yak-9 planes were made, making it one of the most common Soviet fighters. Komsomolets armored tractor. The Komsomolets armored tractor, made in the 1930s, was a Soviet vehicle used in World War II. It worked as both an artillery tractor and a light armored carrier. The tractor had a strong chassis and could go off-road with its gasoline engine. While its armor wasn't very strong, it was great at towing artillery, light guns and anti-tank weapons. This made it important for supporting Soviet artillery units on the Eastern Front. The tractor helped with moving troops, supplies, and even acted as a makeshift armored vehicle in battles. The ZVM-2901 Shnot. The ZVM-2901 Shnot, also known as the Centipede, was a Soviet walking machine created in the 1980s. Shaped like a robotic centipede, it had interconnected modules with legs, providing flexibility to navigate challenging terrain. However, it remained in the experimental stage due to the difficulties in creating a reliable walking machine for military use, along with high development and maintenance costs. BA-64. The BA-64 was a Soviet scout car developed during World War II. Designed for reconnaissance, it had good mobility and agility, navigating various terrains with a four-wheel drive system. Armed with a 7.62mm machine gun, it prioritized speed and maneuverability, making it vulnerable to enemy fire. Despite its small size and open-top configuration, the BA-64 played a crucial role on the Eastern Front, gathering intelligence, locating targets, and facilitating communication between units. Typhoon-class submarine. The Typhoon-class submarine, a Soviet Leviathan developed during the Cold War, was created in response to the United States Navy's Ohio-class submarine. This competition between the superpowers led to constant one-upmanship, each claiming to have the bigger and better technology. The Typhoon submarines, designated as Project 941 Akula in the Soviet Union, Russian for shark, were referred to as Typhoon by NATO. These nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines were known for accommodating a crew of 160 in relatively comfortable living conditions, considering the challenges of being submerged for extended periods. Remarkably, the Typhoon submarines were the largest ever built, with a submerged displacement of 48,000 tons. The M1939 Air Defense Gun. The M1939 Air Defense Gun, or 61K, was a powerful anti-aircraft weapon made by the Soviet Union in the late 1930s. It had one big barrel and shot 37mm projectiles really fast, up to 30 rounds per minute. This gun was created to protect important places like military bases and troops from enemy airplanes. The 61K could shoot effectively at planes flying not too high, reaching distances of about 2.5 miles. It had a smart aiming system with tools like a rangefinder and controls for aiming up and sideways. This helped the gunners aim accurately even when planes were moving fast in the sky. During World War II, the M1939 gun played a big role in defending against enemy planes. It was used in different ways, either in one place or on vehicles like trucks. This gun was flexible and effective, helping to protect the Soviet Union and its troops from air attacks. Even after the war, the M1939 air defense gun stayed in use for many years, making a big impact on how the Soviets defended against enemy planes. The Soviet tank BT-7. The Soviet tank BT-7 was a quick and nimble light tank used in World War II. It was developed in the late 1930s and was part of the BT series of tanks known for their impressive speed and mobility. The BT-7 had sloped armor for better protection and was armed with a 45mm main gun along with machine guns. What made the BT-7 stand out was its remarkable speed, making it one of the fastest tanks of its time, reaching up to 40 miles per hour on roads. This allowed the tank to swiftly maneuver on the battlefield, providing a tactical advantage against enemy tanks and infantry. It played a crucial role in the early stages of World War II, especially in the Soviet Union's campaigns against Finland and Germany. However, as the war progressed and armoured warfare advanced, the limitations of the BT-7 became evident. Its thin armour made it vulnerable to enemy fire, and its relatively small gun became less effective against heavily armoured tanks. Consequently, the BT-7 was gradually replaced by more advanced tank designs in frontline service. The Soviet Tango. The Soviet Tango-class submarine, also known as Project 641, was a type of submarine used during the Cold War. It came into service in the early 1970s and was mainly meant for operations near the coast. These submarines had two layers of hulls, used diesel engines when above water, and electric motors when submerged. This allowed them to travel longer distances and stay underwater for extended periods. Armed with torpedoes and missiles, they were good at dealing with other ships. Even though the Tango-class submarines weren't the fanciest, their smaller size and ability to stay hidden made them important for Soviet naval plans. They were used for things like coastal operations and gathering information. However, as newer submarines with better features came along, the Tango-class submarines were gradually replaced, starting in the 1990s. T-18 tank. The T-18 tank, or MS-1, was a Soviet tank developed in the 1920s. This tank was the first of its kind made by the Soviet Union. The T-18 had a bumpy outer surface, a turning turret with a 37mm cannon, and a few machine guns. Although its armor could only handle small bullets and shell pieces, it could reach a top speed of around 8 miles per hour on roads, which was considered pretty good back then. At first, the T-18 was used to help infantry and gather information during wars like the Russian Civil War and the Polish-Soviet War. It showed that the Soviet Union was getting better at using armored vehicles. However, as other tanks with more advanced features showed up, the T-18 became outdated. So by the late 1930s, it was slowly taken out of service. Some were used for training, and others were changed into different kinds of vehicles, like tractors with armor. GAZ-AAA. The GAZ-AAM, also known as the GAZ-AAA, was a tough Soviet truck made by the Gorky automobile plant from the late 1930s to the early 1950s. It could carry heavy loads and work in challenging terrains. With a reliable engine, it was strong and easy to take care of. During World War II, it helped a lot by carrying troops and supplies on the Eastern Front. It was good at handling tough landscapes and bad weather. Besides military work, the GAZ-AAM was also used for civilian jobs, like moving goods and being turned into special vehicles like fire trucks. Even though they stopped making it in the early 1950s, people still remember the GAZ-AAM for being tough, reliable, and useful in many different jobs in the Soviet automotive industry. The BA-20. The BA-20 was a Soviet armored car used for reconnaissance and liaison purposes in World War II and the time between wars. Built in the late 1930s on the GAZ M1 car chassis, it aimed to provide mobility, protection and firepower for Soviet reconnaissance units. Featuring an open-top design with sloped armor, it offered limited protection against small arms and shrapnel. Armed with a 7.62mm DT machine gun, it could engage enemy infantry and light vehicles. Despite its compact size, the BA-20 excelled in cross-country mobility, making it suitable for reconnaissance in various terrains. One remarkable feature was its high speed, reaching around 80 kilometers an hour on roads, making it one of the fastest armored cars of its time. This speed allowed it to swiftly gather information on enemy movements and report back to command. The BA-20 played a significant role during the war, serving in reconnaissance and security roles on the Eastern Front. It was also utilized by Soviet military police and internal security forces, showcasing its reliability and adaptability in tasks like convoy escort and patrol duties. The ZIS-2. The ZIS-2 was a highly effective Soviet anti-tank gun developed during World War II, known for its outstanding penetration power and versatility on the battlefield. This 57mm gun, equipped with a long barrel and muzzle brake, achieved high muzzle velocity and armor-piercing capabilities. Its ability to penetrate thick armor on German tanks, including the Tiger and Panther tanks, made it a formidable anti-tank weapon for the Soviet forces. One key advantage of the ZIS-2 was its mobility. It was relatively lightweight and easily transportable, allowing quick deployment on various terrains. Mounted on wheeled carriages, it facilitated rapid repositioning and a swift response to enemy threats. The gun's performance was further enhanced by its excellent accuracy and range, reaching up to 72 miles. This provided Soviet forces with the ability to engage and neutralize enemy tanks with precision, even at long distances. The ZIS-2 played a crucial role in the Soviet Union's successful defense against German armed forces, showcasing its effectiveness in combating enemy tanks and fortifications. The GAZ-67. The GAZ-67 was a light four-wheel drive vehicle produced by the Gorky automobile plant, or GAZ, in the Soviet Union during World War II. It was a direct descendant of the American Ford GPA and served as a versatile utility vehicle for the Soviet military. Featuring a sturdy design and excellent off-road capabilities, the GAZ-67 was suitable for various military tasks. Powered by a reliable 3.3-litre inline-4 engine, the GAZ-67 had sufficient power for both on-road and off-road operations. With a maximum speed of around 56 miles per hour on roads, it could easily navigate challenging terrains. The vehicle played a crucial role in reconnaissance, transport and general-purpose utility applications, with a payload capacity of approximately 1,100 pounds, allowing it to carry troops, supplies and equipment. During World War II, the GAZ-67 contributed significantly to the Soviet military's logistics and support operations on the Eastern Front. Its reliability and versatility made it valuable for transporting troops and supplies to the front lines. After the war, the GAZ-67 remained in service with the Soviet military for several years and was exported to various Soviet satellite states. Its influence extended beyond military applications, serving as the basis for subsequent civilian versions like the popular GAZ-69. The 1K-17 Stiletto. The 1K-17 Stiletto was a unique Soviet tank developed just before the collapse of the USSR in 1991. It had the codename Stiletto in NATO reports and was armed with a laser primarily designed as an anti-missile system. The tank also featured additional capabilities to disable enemy optoelectronic systems like imaging equipment, making it a mysterious and advanced project. However, only 2 of these tanks were built in the development stage, and due to the collapse of the USSR, the project was never taken further. The Pentagon obtained copies of the plans from defectors who escaped the Soviet Union. Now shifting gears, we explore another extraordinary Soviet machine, one that may seem like a warmongering monstrosity, but in reality is a cutting-edge agricultural marvel. This machine, capable of outperforming 10 combine harvesters at 10 times the speed, represents a technological revolution in farming. However, the catch lies in its astronomical price tag, reaching 7 figures. While it holds promise for transforming agriculture, the challenge lies in making such groundbreaking technology accessible to the masses. Share your thoughts in the comments. The M1938 Howitzer. The M1938 Howitzer, also known as the ML-20, was a powerful Soviet artillery piece designed by Fyodor Petrov. Featuring a 152mm caliber gun and a 28-foot barrel, it was a towed howitzer with a split-trail carriage for easy transportation and quick deployment. The howitzer had a maximum range of approximately 10.5 miles and could fire various types of ammunition, including high-explosive, armor-piercing and fragmentation rounds. Its significant firepower made it effective against enemy fortifications, tanks and infantry positions during World War II. The M1938 Howitzer played a crucial role in Soviet artillery forces and contributed to the success of many Soviet offensives. It remained in service after the war, influencing subsequent howitzer designs and proving its worth in conflicts like the Korean War and the Arab-Israeli conflicts. That's all for today, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up.